you need to be careful about things like security. Now, how is it my problem? No, somebody's going to give me a piece of software, right? But maybe it is. Maybe it's a wild west out there. And I'll tell you why. It's because we have, there are 4 large concerns in the world who kind of, they're known as the big 4. You know them as auditors. You know them as PwC, where I come from. You know them as EY. I worked with EY before. I was with Arthur Andersen at one point of time, which went, after Enron, whoosh, we all disappeared. But I've been around the block for 30 years now, and actually 29, if I count right. I started my first job after IIT with the Tatas. I was setting up their factories. I was working with MSME because they were the auto ancillaries. Okay, so we face the usual problems that MSME faces. The problems with labor, the problems with regulation, the problems with trying to collect your, invoices. The usual stuff, right? Things have changed, right? I think industry has changed. A lot of things have become smoother, and you'll be surprised how much of that is already due to AI. You'll be surprised that AI is already helping you. Can you give me examples where you are already using AI? And I'd love to start with that. Somebody was saying that, hey, this is just the starting of AI, or you're just getting into that world. But you'll be surprised how much of AI you're already using. You use a smartphone today. There's like tons of AI into it. Tons. You get your mail today in your Gmail account. You won't believe the degree of AI and the sophistication of that AI that actually removes spam for you. Yeah. Spam is an excellently tough problem to handle. If you could handle spam in your life, all your spam, people just who come and talk to you and try to get your meeting, life would be way simpler, right? So spam, it was such a tough problem. And the reason I talk about these examples is because people don't seem to realize that you're already surrounded by AI, right? Why do I say this? You'd be surprised to know that AI has been around for 60 years. And what are we talking of? We're talking about 1960. We're talking about somebody called Alan Turing out there in the UK, saying this is the Turing test. We've all heard about it, Turing test. Can you fool a person into believing that I am a machine or am I a human being? So the test was very simple. There would be a curtain, there would be a computer or a person at the other end, and you would be chatting with that person, right? And the test was, could you, without parting the curtain, know whether there was a human being talking to you or whether it was an autonomous, just a computer talking to you, right? Today, if it is ChatGPT, there's not a chance in hell that you'd know. So basically, Turing's test, gone. It's been blown out of the water. But the
question will just change too.
Yeah.
Is it an Indian or a computer?
Yeah. Okay. So there would be flavors, but you'd be interested to know if you actually prompted ChatGPT to speak like an Indian, or to speak like a poet, or to speak like a Spaniard from the 16th century. It actually does it, and it does it beautifully, right? So just give it a try. ChatGPT. Everybody's got ChatGPT, right? So just go and give it a try. Speak like Shakespeare, and see the way it talks to you. No, it's fantastic. It's an unbelievable piece. But can I just tell you, the first thing is, do not confuse ChatGPT with AI. Please, let's not do that. Let's stop doing that. I know it blew our minds, but that was not AI. AI has been there for the last, and that's what I'm going to convince you about, right? So let's start with that, right? 1960s, Turing, right, comes up with the Turing test. Do you know Turing was a person, and I know I have so many colleagues from the industry, and they're practitioners of AI and all of that. I surprise them when I tell them that Turing didn't even think the concept. He said the concept is stupid. What do you mean by intelligence in a machine? Turing himself did not believe that machines can be intelligent, right? So let's see why Turing said that. Because what you finally have in the machine is mathematics. So I'm going to talk to you even how ChatGPT does it, right? You won't believe ChatGPT. You ask it a good question. You say, why do you think communism failed? ChatGPT gives you an answer that runs into half a page. And it's the most sophisticated answer. I couldn't give you a better answer. And I've studied politics, and I've studied political science, and I've done all of that kind of stuff. How does it do it? When ChatGPT writes its third word, which says, communism started in, it doesn't know what the fourth word will be. Would you believe that? It's actually going to write to you a page. When I talk to you, I know where I'm headed. I know that I'm trying to make a point over here. I know that after 10 sentences, I know what's coming up. ChatGPT, when it's writing the third word, doesn't know what its fourth word is going to be. It is going to statistically check that with all its context, with the question that I asked, why did communism fail? With the first 3 words that it wrote, communism in the, okay, it didn't know what the fourth word would be. It actually statistically scanned through everything on the internet that it has and figured out that the next word should be the 1960s or something. find the right use of AI and understand what all AI is. So I'll again take a step back. Let me give you a historical concept of how this all works out. It's not the first time that we are doing this. Okay, have you heard of the term Industry 4, Fourth Industrial Revolution? Fancy terms. Every consultant comes to you. You know, I try to complicate things for my clients so that they get, scared of, oh, we need a consultant here. It's very simple. Let's talk about, the first industrial revolution. We all know James Watt, steam. Hey, great, right? Let's talk about the second industrial revolution. Let's say you were running your industry in the 1910. That would typically be our grandfather's father. He's running an industry. Let's take a very simple industry. Farm utensils. Everybody needed farm utensils. He's making spades. At that point of time, you would basically, what would he do? He would have a little casting unit, where you would cast metal. He would possibly have a forge, which would be basically a smithy, where he would bang it into shape. He would have some people creating the handle of the spade, shovel, whatever, right? He would be doing it with at least 50 people, right? 19 or 10, he would have been faced with this dilemma. He would have heard something new is coming. Why should I care about it? It's something called electricity. I have never heard about it. Should I bother? When electricity came, nobody understood what electricity was. Okay, AI is, and there's a very famous teacher called Andrew who teaches AI. He's the most famous guy. He's the Stanford guy. Andrew said AI is like electricity, which means that you're not an electricity expert to run your factories today, to work. I mean, all of us are using electricity. It's there in every device of ours. AI is like that. It's already come into your devices and you don't know, right? You don't need to be an expert at AI. None of you need to be an expert at AI, but you need to know how to use AI properly. You need to know how to use electricity properly. If my grandfather's father didn't know that, one fine day, you could have pumps, you could have motors, he would have continued working with his 50 men and his 50 horses, drawing water. He would never have put a pump to get the water in. He would never have got an electricity-driven oven. You can imagine. There were people who decided to continue with steam. They were nowhere. By the 1930s, they were nowhere. 1940s, those businesses went out of business, right? They were all small and medium enterprises, right? People who caught on to the hook, right? But it's difficult. It's not easy. The first guy knew that it turns on a light bulb. He said, "ठीक है भाई, मेरा तो बत्ती है, electricity is not my botheration." He never realized it would also do 10 other things, right? And that's the problem with AI. That's the problem I see with my clients. I am a mechanical engineer. I have no background in tech, right? But for the last 30 years, I have done more tech than mechanical engineering. I have worked with the Tatas, I have worked with the Mahindras, I worked with all the big groups over here in India. I went abroad, so I worked for nearly 20 years abroad. So out of those 30 years that I've spent.
Big overseas partner, USA, Canada. So how the AI help in recruitment? Is there any?
Sir, recruitment, जो हमारे normal recruitment है ना, मैं आपको एक example देता हूँ. हमारे नॉर्मल रिक्रूटमेंट में हम जो सीवी बना के भेजते हैं ना, सो नाउ नियरली 90% ऑफ सीवीज गेट स्क्रीन्ड बाय एआई. स्क्रीन्ड, आप समझ लीजिए, कोई आदमी देखता ही नहीं है हमारे सीवीज को. ओके, इट इज बिकमिंग अ स्कैरी सिनेरियो. नाउ पीपल आर लर्निंग हाउ टू चीट द एआई. सो दैट हैज बिकम अ यूनिक सेलिंग प्रॉपोजिशन. आप कॉलेज में जाओ ना जाओ, आपको कुछ आता वाता ना हो, आप एआई को ना वो घुमा देने का तरीका सीख रहे हैं लोग, और उसके भी कोर्स निकल आएंगे. मैं आपको बोल रहा हूँ ना, उसके भी कोर्स निकल आएंगे. Because it is paying off, right? It will get me through the first, second round. Because it's an AI that is screening. We apply screening also for partners. जो आप बोल रहे हो ना, partners, alliance partners बनाने के समय, all due diligence. मैं एक कंपनी के साथ काम करता हूँ. आप लोग नाम मैं बता दूंगा तो आपको समझ में आ जाएगा. नोएडा में, it is one of the world's now largest auto component manufacturers. You know that. कितने कंपनी साल में कितने कंपनी एक्वायर करते हैं? आज मैं उनके साथ मीटिंग में बैठा हुआ था कल शाम को 2 से 4 बजे तक. ठीक है, उनको इस साल में और 4 कंपनीज खरीदने हैं. एक कंपनी खरीदने के लिए उनको जो वो होता है, आपका जो रूम होता है, उसको वो लोग बोलते हैं वॉर रूम टाइप क्रिएट होता है ना, जहाँ पे सारे डॉक्यूमेंट्स आके डबल
for fun. 1% of Mothers and Sumi's revenue goes into acquisition.
उतना ज्यादा करते हैं. वहाँ पे we are talking about, boss, if you have to scan through so many documents, why are we not putting AI out there? And they have hired one of the guys, Dr. Pradeep Chatterjee, who has come from Tata Motors. 20 साल से मैं उनको जानता हूँ, हम लोग AI डिस्कस कर रहे हैं 20 साल से. So I know the guy. He is coming there. He is going to crack that problem. He is saying. मैं बोल रहा हूँ चलिए देखते हैं कैसे क्रैक होगा. But for them it's big business. वहाँ पे डॉक्यूमेंट्स वही लोग जो आप प्रॉब्लम बोल रहे हैं ना, उनके लिए वो बहुत बड़ा प्रॉब्लम है।
मैं एक एग्जांपल देता हूँ सर, मोस्टली पीपल आर लाइक यूजिंग इंस्टाग्राम एज ए बिजनेस। आपने एक ऐड दिया, किसी ने क्लिक किया, आपका डाटा गया, फिर उसने फ़ोन करा, पूछा आप करेंगे क्या करेंगे, कर रहे हैं, तो वो कोई ऑटोमेटिक सिस्टम भी हो सकता है कि वो डाटा आया तो हाउ टू मेक इट सक्सेसफुल, ये हमारा कैंडिडेट है या नहीं है, या एंड तक कहाँ तक पहुँचे एज ए बिजनेस ऑल्सो।
तो वहाँ पे आई थिंक सोल्यूशन मुझे थोड़ा और समझना पड़ेगा। पर आप इंस्टाग्राम पे आप किसी को रीच आउट करना चाह रहे हैं, मैंने कोई कस्टमर को,
कोई टारगेट कस्टमर हुआ, यू आर सेलिंग सम, आप कोई अमेरिका का टूर सेल करना है, आपने जो ऐड दी, जो इंटरेस्टेड थे उन्होंने कॉन्टेक्ट किया, उनका डाटा आपके पास आया, आपने उनको फोन करा, पूछा आप कब जाएंगे, मतलब
कन्वर्सेशन चालू हुआ। हाँ, तो इसमें
यू आर टायरिंग फॉर द प्रोसेस ऑफ टिल एंड। अब एंड क्या होगा 100 लोगों से बात करने के बाद, तो कोई ऐसा सिस्टम हो सकता है कि वो सिस्टम ही कुछ काम करे, आपको सिर्फ इन्वेस्ट करने।
सर गूगल ने पैसा कैसे बनाया? आप मेरे को बताइए। गूगल इतना कुछ करता है, आपको गूगल मैप देता है आपके फोन पे फ्री, आपसे पैसा लेता ही नहीं है कि आपको बताता है कि आपको यहाँ से चाणक्यपुरी कैसे जाएंगे, आपको ऐसे ही फ्री दे दिया। हाँ, उतना वैल्यूएबल सर्विस। वो अगर आपसे 10 रुपये मांगता आप दे देते। हाँ, आपको ड्राइव करके जाना है यार, मेरे को तो लगता है कि गूगल उसी समय इंस्टेंटेनियसली मोनेटाइज कर सकता है कुछ प्रोडक्ट्स। पर गूगल पैसा कहाँ से बनाता है? गूगल पैसा बनाता है, गूगल नोस कि कौन सा ऐड किसको जा रहा है। गूगल मेक्स मनी आउट ऑफ एड्स एंड दे बिकम एक्सट्रीमली गुड एट इट, which is why people are also willing to pay Google for placing their ads, a premium also, right? So Google's ads are known to be very successful. How did Google do it? Purely Google was the boss in AI. I mean, till अभी आजकल OpenAI के बारे में लोग बात कर रहे हैं everybody, हाँ, but Google is by definition the boss of AI. वो कोविड प्रेडिक्ट करता था आपके गूगल सर्च से। वो बोलता था कि कोविड इधर में आ रहा है, बेस्ड ऑन आप बोल रहे हो ना मेरे को सर्दी खांसी हो रहा है, क्या लेना है, उससे वो इट वाज बेटर एट प्रेडिक्टिंग कोविड स्प्रेड देन एनीबडी एल्स। ओके, सो गूगल इज जस्ट द बॉस, माइल्स अहेड। वो हमें सिखाया है कि एआई क्यों हमें अडॉप्ट करना है इंडस्ट्री में, राइट? सो लेट्स पुट दैट असाइड, बट दैट काइंड ऑफ एन आइडिया टू बी एबल टू डू फोकस्ड एड्स, टू बी एबल टू जज कि वो कन्वर्ट होगा कि नहीं कस्टमर, राइट? Amazon करता है, all the e-commerce sites they do it. When an e-commerce site recommends 5 other things ना, they are continuously running an engine. It's called a recommender engine. उसमें एक टेक्निक होता है पीछे में. It is called collaborative filtering. वो मैं आपको बोलता हूँ. Netflix is supposed to be very good at it. Netflix ने एक बड़ा सिंपल सा चीज किया. Netflix से बोला यार मैं अपने इन हाउस नहीं बनाऊंगा, मैं ये कंसल्टेंट्स लोग को भी पैसा नहीं दूंगा, ये कंपनीज लोग को भी पैसा नहीं दूंगा. Netflix बोला मैं कंपटीशन लगा दिया ओपन इंटरनेट पे. मैं बोला कि मेरे पास सारा इंफॉर्मेशन मैं डाल रहा हूँ, मैं $1 मिलियन दूंगा जो सबसे बढ़िया मुझे रिकमेंडर इंजन बना के देगा. एवरीथिंग वाज ओपन. दे गेव अ होल डेटाबेस ऑफ कस्टमर्स मींस यू एंड मी हु व्यू नेटफ्लिक्स. दे सेड दे व्यूड दिस, मेरे सारे एज प्रोफाइल, ये प्रोफाइल, वो प्रोफाइल सारा इंटरनेट पे डाल दिया. इट पुट अप अ कंपटीशन देयर. Everybody participated, the whole world participated. This is what I mean by the power of open source. आपको मैंने they did not even hire a single person. They got the best people from Google participating. They got the best people from Microsoft participating. सब लोग शाम में बैठ के $1 मिलियन यार 7 करोड़ के लिए कोई भी करेगा. हाँ, so everybody sat down and participated, and they ended up with one of the best recommender systems today. This is a classic case study. Harvard में पढ़ाया जाता है how to use open source to your advantage. एक जन को हायर नहीं किया, and they ended up with very powerful AI.